We got some good stuff to talk about tonight, folks, so stay with us. Okay. So we ended, okay. All right. I guess are we live yet? Okay. I think we're, okay. I guess we are live right now from what I can gather. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in to JW World News. Of course, that's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. Let me just connect a couple of things here. We got some things mixed up here. We got to end this stream. So just hold on 1 second here while we do this. We got to end this stream. Okay. And now we can go back here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right. I guess y'all can hear me. I believe you are. If someone is listening on YouTube and can't hear me, by all means, let me know that. Just to write, if you're not hearing me, hear you. Okay, fine. All right. Well, we seem to be all right. When you're switching from one platform to the other, it can be a little difficult. But anyways, thank you all for coming in. My name's Rick Farron. I'm coming to you from Alaska-chusets. Oh yes, Alaska-chusets. That's what it seems like up here lately. We're getting snow like crazy. We already had about 2 feet on the ground. We got that 3 weeks ago. There was enough. There was enough cold weather that the snow didn't melt, and consequently, now tomorrow we're getting hit with a blizzard. They're talking 24 inches of snow coming here again. We're going to be buried. It's difficult, a very difficult year for snow up here in Massachusetts, but I'm going to start calling it Alaska-chusets if this all continues to do what it's doing here. Well, anyways, I'm glad you're coming in and wanting to be with us tonight. We got a lot to talk about. We really explore what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. If you're new to the program, and you're trying to find out what Six Screens is all about, it's very simple. Six Screens of the Watchtower is a program that we expose the Jehovah's Witness religion. Now, I think by now everybody knows they're a very dangerous and destructive cult. I think everybody listening to this program knows that. Maybe not, though. But if you're just leaving the Watchtower, maybe you're still in the Watchtower. You're saying, what's this all about? Well, what we do is we have people call in from pretty much all over the world, and they voice their concerns of their trek in the Watchtower organization. Of course, that's the controlling arm of the Jehovah's Witness religion. So I'm glad you could make it in, and don't run off if you're a staunch, loyal Jehovah's Witness. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. So by all means, listen in tonight. And I want to just right off the bat talk about an imploding religion. That's what we are looking at right now, an imploding religion. I mean, everybody knows it. I know it. You know it. There's very little to be said about their growth because they're not growing. Right where I live in my neighborhood here, I can see that there's empty parking lots. The Kingdom Hall parking lot is not as full as it used to be when I used to go to the Kingdom Hall. There's especially a lot less enthusiasm. I mean, at one time when I was a witness in this neighborhood, I was out just about every Saturday knocking on doors all over the place. I don't see any Jehovah's Witnesses. I haven't seen any Jehovah's Witnesses in this town for the last, I'd say, 3 years. And they used to engage all the time on the door-to-door work. So it's not happening now. The enthusiasm is way down in the witness world. The enthusiasm, I mean, how enthusiastic can you be? If you were going door to door and nobody would answer, nobody would really want to come into your religion. How would you feel if you had a cart even, and you were wheeling a cart around, and then nobody even wanted to come up and talk to you? So I'm just throwing this on the table. Also, I know one of the reasons why the Jehovah's Witnesses, that is the Watchtower organization, is imploding. And it's AI. Yes, it is. Now, I've always said that the internet is the great equalizer. when it comes to exposing the Watchtower. But I'll tell you what, AI is even better. AI is the great destroyer of the Watchtower. So what we have here, and I know you all don't agree with me, we have a religion on the verge of dying. As a matter of fact, I think they're taking their last breath. In fact, I almost can even conclude that it's already dead. It just hasn't fallen over yet. You see, the monkey died. The circus is over. Where is the Watchtower gonna go? Uh, I'm getting such feedback here from people writing me, from information coming into the six screens. And I want to thank everyone that sends me information. Even prior to the program tonight, I don't know how many people send me emails and news articles. Rick discussed this, that. We can only discuss so much stuff. But I'm getting reports coming into the six screens that nobody cares anymore of being a Jehovah's Witness. The pioneers don't care. They hate it. They're not even signing up for new positions. They don't want to be pioneers anymore. The elders don't care. There's elders dropping off like flies. They're stepping down. They don't want part of this. The ministerial servants, forget about it. You're not even going to get young brothers to even step forward. And the Bethelites, oh, come on. You realize how disgruntled the Bethelites are after what the Watchtower did to them in the last year, kicking them to the curb and leaving them, go back to your home congregation and see you later. They don't feel good. No, nobody feels good about the Jehovah's Witness religion. And like I say, in my area, the decline is definitely visible. And there's no new ones coming in. Really, when you stop and think about it, when you were a witness, I brought in, I think about 3 or 4 people. That's it. I feel bad about it. But nobody's coming in today. The brothers and sisters are reporting back to the Kingdom Hall and saying, "Did you get any results? Anyone talk to you? Did you get anyone to want to discuss what Paradise Earth is all about?" No one even wants to discuss things. The attendance at meetings, it's in a big decline, a big decline. There are very few men who want to take the lead. They're overworked as it is. With the way the economy is, and the way that these brothers, I mean, they're just normal people. There's very few millionaires in the organization. There is some, but there's very few. And for most men, they're just hardworking men that never got a real education, so they never got a really good job. Can you imagine the situation they find themselves in with the high cost of rent and mortgages and cars? The average car payment in this country? Do you know what the average car payment is? It's close to $800. So you get car payments, you got insurance, you got your phone. How can these brothers who just have nominal jobs, take on more assignments? How can they really even support their family when the Watchtower keeps overloading them with work? And they're getting tired of it. Some of these brothers, because there's so few people attending the Kingdom Hall meetings, that they're really overloading the brothers' donkey, so to speak. They got them taking, 2, 3 talks a month. They got them on going out talking and, public talk work, 2, 3 times a month as well. It's too much. It's collapsing. And then shepherd calls, judicial committees. How much can an elder take? They're overworked. They're overworked. The Watchtower is seeing that. So, and then the other thing, is there so many? This is just like a giant tsunami that's hitting the Jehovah's Witness world. This is the Watchtower has never been faced like anything this ever. Then, and the biggest culprit. Well, let me name. Do you know what the biggest culprit is? And you know what the biggest problem Watchtower is seeing right now in congregations? There's too many old people, the baby boomers, and the people over 40. That's basically what you're going to see. I mean, the baby boomers are way over 40, but people over 40 and older is all you're seeing in the Kingdom Halls. Very few young people. And you see a very small number of people under 40 years old. Now, you know, I've been protesting for years at the memorial and conventions. And the last time, 2 years ago, I was out there, I could see the decline. I was looking for young Jehovah's Witnesses. And out of 200 people that attended the memorial up here in Wilmington, Massachusetts, I was specifically looking for, teenage kids. I was looking for, kids 16, 17. In fact, I counted one. Out of all the 200 people, I saw one young girl. I would say she was probably 15, 16. But what I saw was a bunch of little kids. Obviously, they go with mom and dad, right, to the meeting. But I saw very few teenagers. So, I'm seeing this. You're seeing it. Uh, the congregations, I'll tell you, they're merging them left and right. One congregation started losing some members. So what they would do is say, okay, congregation B, why don't you come over here and be with congregation A, because their members aren't as many as they used to be. So they combine, or they merge two Kingdom Hall congregations. So it looks like, wow. And even merging the two, they're still struggling to get the seats full because of Zoom. A good many people are just staying on Zoom. This is really concerning to the Watchtower. This is really to the point that the Watchtower is going to give some serious thought to how they're going to keep this organization alive, because it's on death row right now. It's really on life support. And the love for the preaching work. I mean, how much love can there be in preaching work? It's rapidly dying. It really is. Who in their right mind wants to go out in the preaching work when nobody's even responding? I mean, does that make sense to you? Most people do letter writing, or they do cart work. Very few are still zealous about going door to door. Would you be one of those people that was zealous going door to door? I don't think you would be. I mean, it's not sensible. Now, they'll say that, Pixie, I'm sure. But is it Pixie? If you're getting no results, is it sensible to continue doing something? I mean, you know the phrase they always say about.
But I'm just thinking it's fulfilling prophecy. The greater number will cool off.
Well, that's probably what they're going to say. But I'll tell you what, the older ones are passing away, and there's nobody to replace them. This is really good. Yeah, well, this has got Watchtower, up a creek without a paddle. And you can't, how are you going to get young people to come into the organization today? I mean, let's get real.
Also, what I saw in the larger world,
yeah,
the last social event I attended, some of the members that had been young girls, they were very smart and they got nursing degrees.
Yeah.
But they weren't interested in chatting socially at this event with the brothers. They know they've got theirs, and they're not too interested in being a wifey.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm with you.
The same trend that we see in the world.
I'm with you. Hey, who's this? This is a fellow from New Orleans?
No, this is Marty here.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Marty.
This is Marty. Hey, you remember when, you guys remember when we used to go to the Kingdom Hall? There were 4 or 5 people within a certain radius, like maybe within around your house, that were witnesses. And then you'd have your book study was pretty close by, and had regular families were coming, with kids and stuff. It was all like totally different. It was like there were more. There was at least one Jehovah's Witness for every, like, at least a mile away or something like that.
Oh yeah.
That would get all. You'd all know each other, and they'd all come to the Kingdom Hall, and then you might have a book study at one person's house over here one time, and then if they couldn't have it, you'd jump over to another. But everybody it sort of felt more like, the world was so different that,
Well, Marty, let me, you've been around a while. You've been on the track for a while. Do you see any Jehovah's Witnesses today going door to door?
No, I do not. As a matter of fact, I live right down the road from the Kingdom Hall here. I can walk there within like 5 minutes. I mean, 4 minutes, the very hall that I went to. I ended up moving back this way and many years after I left, but it happened to be right down here. But as a matter of fact, I've been down there a few times. They remodeled, and I poked my head in there, talked. They had a brother down there doing security, and word was already passed around that I had been down there and stuff, and they had me on camera. They were watching footage, so I was kind of poking my head around, looking around.
Oh yeah, they'll do that. They'll do that.
It was a nice, they did a good job on the hall and all that, but yeah. So I'm just going back with memories,
Well, good for you. Well,
Memories
then,
of how it was.
well, thank you for sharing your memories. And thank you, Marty. Thank you very much for coming in. But the decline is visible, Marty, and it's not only here in America. The decline. In fact, I get some information come to me today from Brazil, and it's totally visible over there. As a matter of fact, I'll even tell you. Other countries, Africa, a lot of African countries losing witnesses like crazy. And that was their last stronghold. But people in Africa don't even want to listen to it anymore. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you the other thing, and I want to thank the people who gave me this information, the missionary witnesses. Now, imagine being a Jehovah's Witness missionary. You want to talk about, pioneering is hard. Being a circuit overseer could be hard, I suppose. But imagine being a pioneer missionary, and a missionary for the Watchtower, and the time and the effort, and you're getting no one to even respond. Even the missionaries, according to the information I received, they're acknowledging that the Kingdom Hall has so many empty seats. And there's a growing disinterest, I should say. The missionaries are saying there's a growing interest of people wanting to hear the message of the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's from the missionaries. So things are getting pretty bad when the missionaries, they were going to devote their life to Jehovah and the organization, but they're even starting to cry. So the organization is in an unstoppable decline. Let me repeat that. The organization is in an unstoppable decline. Now, what happens when something's in an unstoppable decline? Well, what if you're looking up and you see a jet airliner flying over, and all of a sudden it starts taking a nosedive? It's in an unstoppable decline. It's going to crash. It's the same thing in the Watchtower right now. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But anyways, it's fascinating to me to see this all coming about. And, at first I even, you kind of have a hard time with it, especially when you're giving JW World News over 20 years. And all of a sudden we're starting to get all these points on the scoreboard. Geez, I feel like I'm at the Super Bowl. I feel like, oh my goodness, it's starting to win the game here. And we're doing it in a nice fashion. I want to thank all the people on YouTube, all the creators on Facebook, and those writing in forums. Hey, friends, we're all making a difference. We're all brothers and sisters exposing the Watchtower. Keep it up because it is working. So that's my thoughts on it. So what do you guys think? You think the Watchtower is really on life support? Do you think they have their days numbered? I believe you probably do. I don't think I even have to get you to comment. I know you're probably just silent.
I don't see how.
Yeah.
I don't see how anybody who is young or like a teenagers or anything like that, or unless their families were already a long time in it, I don't see how any of these families would really be drawn to that anymore, because with the internet and everything, and everything is just too out in the open with everything, and it just seems like it'd be totally boring to them. Like maybe if we were walking next to a Masonic temple, or maybe any one of those other kind of cultic religions. When we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we would have never even thought of going to one of those places.
Oh.
Well, that's probably the same thing everybody thinks. There are still a few people that are going, I've noticed, to this particular Kingdom Hall here, but I can't see. I've been noticing most of the videos I see and stuff are all older people. They're, like you said, 40 and up, because what's there for the kids? Nothing.
Well, the other thing, Marty, I was in a Comcast store today, Xfinity, getting some numbers changed, and what no, and what happened when I was there, I noticed this. A lot of people came in and they want to get new phones. They wanted to make sure the phones are working. And there were young kids in there with their parents. And the parents, they're struggling to even figure this all out. But I'm looking at little 6, 8-year-old kids that are figuring this all out, what these Xfinity workers are talking about. The kids are getting it and trying to explain it to their parents.
Yeah.
So it's like, these kids, it's only a click away. It's only a click away. There's nothing in it for them. Yeah.
Unless a bunch of smart kids get a hold of the Jehovah Witness religion and take it over and make it even more diabolical.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Marty, for coming in and talking with us. I appreciate it. Well, thank you very much, Marty. Yeah. So things are happening, friends. And I just wanted to bring something else up. And then that Xfinity, that comment there with Marty got me thinking. These young kids, there's nothing there. They know what the Watchtower is all about. Geez, you got little 6, 8-year-old kids. I was in the market basket. It was probably about 6 months ago now. But I see a little Asian girl, little cute little Asian girl. And she's with her mom. And she's got a little phone there. It's like a little kid phone. And she's scrolling it up and down. She couldn't have been any more than 2 years old. So I stopped. I said, wow, that's amazing that your child knows how to work that phone. She says, oh, yeah, she's pretty good at it. Can you imagine that? A little 2-year-old kid working a little phone like that. Amazing. And she's playing with it. And what's this kid gonna? They're going to find out about the Watchtower. It's all over the place. All right. So let's see what else is going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. I just wanted to bring this up. 2025 was a tumultuous year for the Watchtower organization. The Jehovah's Witness organization, in is at least my way of thinking, never made so many changes in policy, never made so many changes in their doctrine, and never made so many changes in their elders' books as they did in 2025. Now, a lot of people ask me, they write to me, Rick, what do you think is going to happen in 2026? Well, it's anybody's guess, but it's all over the internet that everyone's saying, well, will it be birthdays? Will birthdays come into play for the witnesses? And even people write to me, they say, Rick, they might just change the term. We know how Jehovah's Witnesses love to play the game of semantics, right? Just change the term and you get away with it. So they might possibly say that birthdays can be called an anniversary or life celebration. They might not call it birthdays. After close to maybe 80 years of picking on birthdays and condemning them for pagan practices, maybe they're going to have a hard time calling it birthday. So change the name and they might be able to get away from it. But I'm not sure they will do it. I think a lot of the new light that's going to be coming forth, and if they do, I'll tell you what, if they do change or they now take a different position on birthdays, and then some of these changes are now connecting dots, the beards, the women wearing slacks, the name or the term disfellowship now being removed, the new term. And all of these changes, I'm beginning to put two and two together. I think it's to divert attention from all the lawsuits that are being filed against the Watchtower. It's an easy trick. The news media does it. The politicians do it. I'm even thinking with this Epstein file. We're going to get to that later too. We're going to talk about some of the things that are being said about the witnesses in the Epstein file. That's coming up. But I'm thinking even, this Epstein file. Now, I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist here tonight, but I was even talking to Susan today about this. And, I'm kidding you when I came on tonight and talking about Alaska-Chusetts. But friends, I'm going to tell you something. This is one of the worst winters I can ever remember. In fact, even you heard Pixie, she's down in Virginia, and all these people have been calling in, getting hit with a snowstorm. And this has been an ongoing thing. And I got up this morning, I'm thinking, now, wait a minute. This is absolutely nuts. I'm looking out the window. It's snowing. My cars are covered with snow. And I'm saying, this is too much. So then I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Are they making weather? And I don't have my tinfoil hat on, folks. Just follow what I'm saying. But are they actually, we know they can make weather. Are they making weather? Are they making it really snow so much here? And as a matter of fact, let me tell you something. Boston to Washington, D.C., I'm going to give you a term. It's called the megalopagus. Did you ever hear of a megalopagus? That is the largest concentration of population in the United States. From Boston all the way down to Washington, D.C. It's about a 500-mile stretch of nothing but really thick population. So we're all getting hit this week. We got hit 3 weeks ago. Are they really trying to divert our attention about the Epstein files? Are they doing that to making it deliberately snow so that our minds are more on shoveling and cleaning out more than on what's going on with Epstein? Well, it's just a thought. Maybe it's not true, but I get thinking that. We're going to talk about Epstein a little bit. Going to talk about that a little bit. But I wanted to say the last year, we have seen the most litigation the organization has ever faced. Yes, the lawsuits. Look at Norway. Look at all the countries that are putting the Jehovah's Witness organization under the microscope. They're being interrogated by, I counted 14 countries: Belgium, Sweden, Slovakia, Japan, and the list goes on and on and on and on. And litigation galore. And look at what the lying lawyers up there in Norway and what they try to get away with. We'll see what happens. The jury's still out on that. We'll have to find out what the Supreme Court justices feel when they decide what's going to happen. Then we hope that Watchtower will lose, but that's all we can do at this point. So, we see things happening for change in the Watchtower, and of course we know that so many people have been disfellowshipped, and because of Norway, we're thinking that the Watchtower in 2026, at least I'm thinking it, but I don't know what's going to happen for sure, but I'm thinking the Watchtower in 2026, they might have to make adjustments regarding the disfellowshipping or the expulsion of people from the Jehovah's Witness religion. They're now calling it removed, as you all know. So it could be by the end of 2026, even though we all kind of realize now it's like it's almost like a conscientious matter whether we speak to one or not, but it's not really official. That has not been written in the Watchtower. It's passed around like a lot of other things in the Watchtower, but there's nothing saying we have to use our conscience whether to speak to a disfellowship one or remove one. But I'm thinking they will have an article that will more or less put the person in charge of their conscience. If the conscience says don't speak, and they might be able to pull that off. So we're seeing a lot of things happening. And another thing I'm thinking could happen, I think this is more realistic. I think this might even be more realistic than letting the witnesses celebrate birthdays. I see this coming. I see it a lot out there being discussed as the dropping of the mid-week meeting. Now, did you like going 3 times to the Kingdom Hall? Plus, if you went for service, you got to go 4 times a week. I'm really thinking the Watchtower is thinking of dropping the midweek meeting. It could allow for more Kingdom Hall consolidation. In other words, you'd be able to sell more Kingdom Halls off. So I'm thinking that, people will say, well, we don't have that many people coming to our hall anyway, so the Watchtower took and sold it, and it'll kind of appease them with that. So it's possible you're going to see the dropping of the midweek meeting. Now, I also believe this could come up. Now, don't take anything I'm saying here tonight totally to the bank and cash it, because these are people that are feeding me information. They write me all the time. So anyways, I get information coming in and I thought about this anyways, that it's possible in 2026 that the circuit overseer arrangement could be done away with, there might not be any more circuit overseers as we know it. They will have, and they experimented with this a few years back, if you remember, well, as many as 15 years ago, they had substitute circuit overseers and they were elders. Well, it's possible that circuit overseers now could be rotating elders. In other words, not that an elder would be doing it all the time, but they'd do it for a while, 6 months, then another elder would take over. This could save the Watchtower tons of money. It cost them a lot of money to have circuit overseers. They got to put them in cars. They got to give them a stipend amount of money. They really, it's a real expense. So the Watchtowers, they're all about money. I mean, let's face it. So it's possible the circuit overseer is going to be disappearing. And there's something though that before the Watchtower does this. Now I got thinking of this. Before the Watchtower just stopped having circuit overseers, there could be a problem brewing below the surface. And let me tell you, in fact, there's a term, and I've known the term, but I forgot what the meaning was. But I began to try to put two and two together. There's a term called simony. Simony, 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 and this could happen in the ranks of the Jehovah's Witnesses. It wouldn't surprise me. Well, you say, well, what is simony? And I got thinking, if you tick the circuit overseers off, if you really get on their case and say, we don't need you anymore, and many of them are ticked right now. I know one, I'm going to get into that story in a second. But this simony, let me give you the definition of simony. Simony is buying or selling of religious offices, positions, or spiritual benefits for money and material gain. Hold on now. Let me just try to explain this to you. In a way, Ray Franz could be kind of accused of simony, kind of. He according to the Watchtower was corrupt. He sold his spiritual benefits of being one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, not necessarily for money, but he was hoping that they would give him some money. And the Watchtower did give him $10,000 back in 1982. And basically, if he just kind of kept below the radar screen. So, a lot of circuit overseers are understanding the position the Watchtower is in. They got millions of dollars. They got millions of dollars, billions of dollars, really. So they know the Watchtower is wealthy. And by the circuit overseer just getting the boot, okay, we don't need you anymore. You turned 70 years old. We don't want you. This could really tick many circuit overseers off, especially those that are PIMQs, those that are doubting the organization. They might just start saying, okay, if you don't pay me and cut me a check, I'm going to spill the beans. And I think the Watchtower really would get the checkbooks out. I mean, I'm just thinking this. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I know the reason why I even think about this is, I was kicked out of Satan's organization back in 2005. So that would have been 15 years ago, right? Well, no, I'd be 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago, am I thinking? So 20 years ago, I can remember I was in a coffee shop. I was still a witness. And the circuit overseer up here in Massachusetts, his name was Rokas, Brother Rokas. Many might know him. And he came in with the group. I was in there with a person who was working with me. We're having coffee and a bagel. So he came into Brugger's Bagels. And he said to the sisters, you go over there. I'm going to sit here with Brother Farron and his friend. So Brother Rokas sat down with me and my friend. And my friend was a Jehovah's Witness too at the time. And he said that he doesn't know what's going to happen. He was getting old. And he says, there's really nothing here. They're going to send me out to pastor. He says, I'm not going to have much of anything really once I leave the Watchtower. Now, he says, some people are fortunate enough to get on the writing committee. Some are fortunate enough to get a position at the world headquarters where they can be taken care of. But he says, me and my wife, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And how many circuit overseers will be in trouble? So they're being ticked off. They are being ticked off big time. And they could create an act of simony. But who knows? It's only conjecture at this time. So also, it's funny when people write I got one person wrote me today saying, Rick, I got some new light for you. Sometimes you have to be a little humorous, right? So he says, I got some new light for you. The new light is that removed people can now participate in weekly cleaning. So just fellowship people. I mean, it's humorous. You can come up with all kinds of silly little thoughts, huh? But even getting back to that circuit overseer arrangement perhaps being done away with. They killed off the district overseer. There's no district overseers anymore. We know that. And that arrangement, that new arrangement was met with minimal fallout. Nobody really complained about it. A lot of the witnesses didn't even know about it. All of a sudden, there wasn't even a district overseer anymore. But it seems to me that money, the green paper money, seemed to be more important than just about anything else to the Watchtower right now. And another thing I'm thinking they could cut, maybe we'll see it in 2026, the need for special pioneers. They pay special pioneers. Now, they just get a stipend amount of money. I wouldn't think they make much over $150 a month. But the Watchtower right now, they're trying to stop the hemorrhage. They're trying to stop the hemorrhage. So any thoughts at all on that? Do you want to speak up? Go ahead. You're on with me. What do you think? What do you think? You think they'll eliminate the circuit overseer? I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to agree with you that they're doing distractions to get away from the lawsuits and the major problems that they had in the organization. Their master or their example is our government. And what is our government doing right now with Epstein files? All of a sudden, aliens exist. I mean, it's a card that they're playing. The Watchtower learned from them, and they're pretty good at it. Watchtower's been good at lying for a long time. I feel like there's like a similar feeling with the two of them. But I think Watchtower is basically in checkmate, or they're in check. They keep moving. They're not in checkmate yet, but this is chess, and they keep making the moves. And every move that they do, they're getting closer and closer to checkmate because it's inevitable. The board is set, and there's really nothing they can do. The lawsuits are going to keep coming. The government doesn't seem to have their back. The governments don't seem to have their back anymore, and they're losing membership. I mean, there's so many holes in the ship. They just don't have enough fingers to plug them anymore. But thanks, Rick. That's my 2 cents.
Well, Eric, no, I like that 2 cents. I'm gonna give that at least 3 cents. I mean, really. In fact, you mentioned a couple of things that made sense to me, and I saw it this morning on Fox News that President Trump is now going to release the information he has on extraterrestrials. And what you just said there seems to be some of the strangest things going on with maybe a major cover up with these Epstein files. I'm not saying who was involved and who wasn't, but up here, we're seeing the snow. You're up in Maine, Eric, so you're going to see it too. We're getting blasted.
Oh, Rick, I've been getting blasted over here. I've been living for 10 years. I've been living in the South, and now I'm in the planet pop system. You know that one from Star Wars?
Yeah.
The second one?
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't stop. I mean, I thought I was going to have to cut a dog open and use it as a covering to keep warm. I'm being
well, what it was,
it's just really bad out here.
No, in fact, I opened the program saying, "Welcome to Alaska, Massachusetts." I'm in Alaska,
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
you had me cracking. Thanks for that.
Jeez, I'll tell you, it's how bad it is. But no, something's going on. Something's going on out there, folks. And but maybe it could just be a bad winter. We've had them before, but not like this. This is unbelievable. Yeah. So all these changes could come up. It's all about money. The Watchtower, they'll make a change in a heartbeat if they can save some serious money. And those circuit overseers, I forget what it was, but they in the Watchtower magazines, I don't know if they still do it, but for a while they were doing it. And I figure around February, they would give you like the expenses for their full-time servants. In the last, I remember looking at it, probably was 15, 20, well, maybe 15 years ago. And the expenses was like $22 million a year to cover the cost of circuit overseers and special pioneers. So, I'm sure today it's probably like 50 million. So that's That's a sizable chunk of change, right? That's not chump change. So the Watchtower is looking at every avenue they can to see what they can do. Are you on with me? Go ahead. Yeah. Hi, Matthew.
Africa, the continent of Africa is huge, and they are getting a pan-African internet of their own. And I don't know if some countries already have it or what, but the plan is for the entire continent of Africa to be up and running in the modern world with a pan-African internet.
Well, there you go, Pixie. Well, I know Elon Musk. What Elon Musk, he's got that SpaceX company, and he's got satellites up there that can give people internet service from satellites. And he's talked about helping. Go ahead.
By the time the African people start talking to each other, the imperialistic idea of Christian missionaries is not going to be popular like it was hundreds of years ago. This is going to cut into the witness marketing.
No doubt, Pixie. Well, thank you, Matthew. What do you have to say? Now, Matthew's from Africa. You can tell us. What do you think, Matthew?
Well, Pixie is most astute with that, but I've got a little bit of information for you, and again, it's one of those things you don't take to the bank, but I've got it in writing, and it's to do with circuit overseers. And so the source of it looks solid, but I always keep skeptical about it. But the circuit overseers, I don't know if you've heard, but it sounds like they've been instructed not to work with children or anybody that's under 18 years of age. It's a very specific instruction.
Oh, yes.
Very specific. So we're looking at, why would that instruction now be given recently? It's because of the problem with, the abuse situation. So it's just creating too many ripples, too many waves. So they're just clamping down. If it's being weaponized or it's a legitimate problem, let's just issue this order to circuit overseers. This is a no-go area. The other thing that I got as well, and again, like you say, you can't take it to the bank, is there is talk of one meeting per week. So we're hearing that in Africa. We're just going to have to see it. But I'm getting that from in writing from a good source. Praise the niggers, praise the niggers, praise the niggers, niggers, praise the niggers. Anyway, thank you, Rick.
The conference has been locked.
Well, thank you, Matthew. We have to lock the conference. We got the Bethelites coming in, the drunken Bethelites. We do have the conference locked, right? Hold on one second. We have the conference locked. If you're on the hold. What you want to do, just if you're on the telephone line, don't get off right now because you won't get back in. It's locked. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, as a black man who was at Bethel, that is not a Bethelite. That's a white supremacist racist. Exactly speaking. Call it what it is. Okay.
Well, hold on one second, Zach, just to clarify that. Hold on one second, Jack. Why would you say that's a white supremacist calling into this program?
Racist.
What?
Talking, using the N-word, Rick?
Well, hold on, Jack. Just slow down now. You're moving too quick here.
Isn't that racist if you can assume it's a white person? Isn't that racist in itself?
I didn't say it was a white person. I
Yes,
said
you made a white supremacist, right?
no, a white supremacist, a person who supports white supremacy is not necessarily a white person.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Okay, so let's move on. That's not the issue I called in about.
What does it matter? Why is, it's just some asshole. Why do we have to focus on
Right, so why are you still talking while I'm trying to go on with something else? Rick, I'd like to
it?
talk.
I'm sorry, I'll leave you alone.
Thank you. Thank you. Rick, what I wanted to talk about was, you had mentioned simony. I do remember that being one of the things that the witnesses talked about, simony. And what simony was, I barely remember the actual person, but simony was a person who was in the first century who tried to pay money to get a position in the congregation. So I do think that's what simony was. Now, about dropping meetings, we used to have 3 a week. We used to have to go to 3 different meetings a week, and they very quietly dropped the book study. You know, they kind of blended it in with the other meetings, and then they kind of dropped it out. You know, the book study became less and less. So if you feel that they plan to get it down to 1 meeting, I wouldn't disagree with you.
Oh.
I would agree with that.
Well, thank you, Zach. Yeah, no, that's simony. That's I remember even the Watchtower did bring that up, and you're absolutely right. They use corrupt means to gain spiritual advantage. But see, those circuit overseer, if you got a circuit overseer that is kind of bent on badness, and he's really ticked off because he's going to have to hit the curb, then he might say, "Look at." I'm going to spill the beans. I got to stay a circuit overseer. I want my position. So in a corrupt way, he's trying to buy his position. You follow? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
try to bribe.
Yeah, bribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
To get a certain result.
Yeah, and just to clarify, well, I won't get into the racist thing at all, but there is no reason for someone to call into the program like that. And the reason why they do that, and they use these bad terms, is to really make us look bad to Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, to make us look like we're a bunch of mad, irate, racist people. So that's another clue that these are drunken Bethelites. That's how low they would
Well,
go.
That's the thing that gets me, because a lot of times Bethelites ain't got time for this stuff.
Maybe
You know what I mean? They don't have time to be listening. They don't have time to be listening in on Saturday night to disrupt the show. That person is a troll.
well, there is.
That person's a troll trying to troll you.
Well, everybody knows.
The Bethelites who were my friends, those people are all doing extremely well. And like I told you a while ago, I'm sitting in a movie because I kind of expected it, and I see the name at the end of the movie, and it's like, wow, I'm glad. It's like, I know that person, and the person has a major role in the movie. So Bethelites are doing their thing. I knew one of them who went to law school and took the LSAT. They scored so high, they were able to go back to Bethel and negotiate how much time they had to stay at Bethel because they scored so high on the LSAT that they got a scholarship from university. So Bethel didn't have to pay as much money to send them. So you understand my point of view too, right?
Well,
People that I knew who were Bethelites all were successful in their own right.
Right, but see, you
They
didn't.
didn't have time to sit around to pick with you.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, but wait a minute now. I'll let you talk. Let me talk. Now, what you're missing here is maybe in your circle of friends, those friends of yours were not assigned by the Watchtower to check everything that's negative being said about them. There are Bethelites that are actually every cult has it. The Catholic Church has it. Every cult, the Mormons, they have a group of people that monitor everything being negative about the organization there is. And consequently, Johnny the Bethelite, when he used to come on, that's what his job was. He was monitoring the 6 screens. So I listen in very closely. I go back, I listen to some of these calls. It's a coordinated, it's not just some goofball jerk calling in. It's a coordinated effort. As I listen with my earphones very close and pick out each word, it's get Rick to say this, have Rick do this. There's a coordinated effort to destroy this program. That's
We just have to stay classy, and you do, so stay classy.
Right, that's right. But Rick, sometimes you're going to have a person who expresses things a little differently from you, which I'm expressing things a little differently from you. And I'm really saying I don't believe those are.
well, a lot of people.
I understand that. And Johnny the Bethelite, I remember talking to Johnny the Bethelite, and I was very defensive for Johnny the Bethelite. If you can remember the night the lovely Lil called in, I was very defensive for Johnny the Bethelite. But I did find this to be the case with Johnny the Bethelite. He was a real person, I'm sure. Johnny the Bethelite was the one person that you couldn't get to talk about specifics about the Bethel routine. For example, what's the routine like on Sunday? You couldn't get him to talk about specifics. So whatever his situation was, I'm sure that Johnny knew people who were at Bethel, and that Johnny expressed many of the things that he heard. I don't hate Johnny, but I will say it was interesting that Johnny the Bethelite would be very difficult. It was like pulling teeth to get him to talk about specific things at Bethel. Now, you had another brother who had come in on the program, and he was so disgusted with Bethel that he didn't even eat with the Bethel family. And you interviewed him. And I remember, I know that you might not eat certain meals with the Bethel family if you don't want to, but there's some that you have to go to, and that's morning worship. And I remember asking that brother who was saying, "Oh yeah, I stopped eating with them because I was too disgusted." And I said, "What about morning worship?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I did go to morning worship because you have to go there." That brother was genuine, a genuine Bethelite, no question about it. Several other Bethelites that you've had on were really Bethelites, and they weren't getting secondhand information. But I will say, if you're pushing Johnny on me, I will say that I had a difficult time getting Johnny to talk about the specific routine of Bethel and how it was different on Sunday from a Saturday and Monday through Friday.
I know.
Rick, I love your show. I love your show, your program and stuff. I don't believe those are Bethel people calling in and using the N word. And I think call it what it really is. If they are Bethel people, they're Bethel people with a real problem. The fact that they would keep using the N word coming in here.
Well, yeah, the reason why but see what the Watchtower would do is that they hit below the belt. They're not going to come on and say, "Hi, Rick. Hi, Zach. How y'all doing?" They're going to come on using the most. I've caught them in homosexual pornography talk, the N word, almost the most vulgar things you could ever imagine. And only a wicked, evil organization would do that. And if it was just some spoofer, they wouldn't be doing this for like 10 years. They give up.
Toddlers do. That's toddler stuff.
Yeah. So, anyways, but hey, I don't have to convince anybody. I'm convinced. Yeah.
Dixie, I love your discussion, what you just said about the Christian missionaries and how you describe them for real in Africa. There are 54 countries in Africa. And so I'm sorry, I had noise outside the window. I can't believe that, the timing of that. There are 54 countries in Africa, and the way you describe the missionaries that are sent there, I think you hit the ball out of the park.
Well, thank you. I thank you. I have to have at least one on Saturday that's really good. And I loved Rick's description of Boston now of Massachusetts. I think that wins.
I know.
That's Boston.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't have the paid law service software now, but I did get a note that is not tinfoil. They're saying that some of the Epstein material counts as crimes against humanity, and I don't even want to investigate the paragraphs further. It's beyond wickedness at this point, and that was from a legal source. Crimes against humanity.
Well, in fact, Pixie and Zach, I don't know if you heard, but there's a lot of stuff floating around connecting Epstein to the Watchtower. But I'm gonna bring this up in this next discussion. But I want people to know I'm not totally saying this is totally reliable. So I don't want to be held accountable. So I'm gonna go about it very easily. I'm gonna try to explain the position that I'm taking, and I want everyone to take. I think a lot of it is not true, but some of it could be. Okay. So let me just kind of explain this. There's some interesting allegations that are floating around, and I'm saying some could be true, some could be untrue. But for those listening, uh, you might want to do your own research on this. But a couple things stood out to me. And the question that everyone is asking, and this has been all over the internet for the last 2 months, was the Watchtower involved with Jeffrey Epstein? I want to make it perfectly clear so there's no misunderstanding. I am not, this is only what this week alone, I've had 3 or 4 people email me information about the Watchtower and Jeffrey Epstein. So I tried to sort it out, dissect it, and see what's true, what's not true. So don't go on the record to say Rick said Jeffrey Epstein was totally involved. I'm not saying that. Now, when the first list, let's go slow here. When the first list of Jeffrey Epstein came out, well, that was back in 2022. Now, artificial intelligence was not in control back then like it is today. I think everyone can agree on that. So there was no artificial intelligence back in 2022 the way that we know it today. It was just starting to get developed. So if you ask, and I'm sure everybody out there uses Chat GPT, a Gemini, a Copilot, or there's others out there too, but I'm sure everyone uses it. I love AI. My wife loves AI. Geez, you get all kinds of answers, you medical questions, all kinds of stuff. But let's just go with this. If you ask AI today what linkage there is to jw.org today, it restricts it. In other words, if you write to one of these AI platforms today, I'm talking about today, and you write in there what linkage or what connection did Jeffrey Epstein have with the Watchtower, AI doesn't answer it now. But it almost did 4 years ago, and even since. But up to now, with all the stuff going on with Epstein, evidently there's certain things that the AI won't do for you. It's just not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Maybe, I mean, there's ongoing cases here, so it's got to be very careful it doesn't get sued. So it restricts it, and but for almost 4 years ago, AI, as it was coming out, said something very interesting relating Jeffrey Jackson and the Jehovah's Witnesses. So this is 4-year-old stuff. As I could say today, AI isn't commenting on it, but this is before all this hit the fan with Jeffrey Epstein. So anyways, here's some of the information, but don't take it to the bank and cash it. And I'm going to give you my feelings. I'm going to tell you my own feelings. Okay. So let's do this. So it's punched into AI. Is the name of, this is 4 years ago, the people who sent me this evidently did the research, is the name of any member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses on Epstein's guest list? That's the question that was pumped into AI 4 years ago. AI stated yes. Now, again, I'm not stating it. This is the information that came to me. Yes, 2 members of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses appear on Jeffrey Epstein's guest list. Who do you think the names would be? You want to take a shot? 2 members. Now, this is the information that was sent to me. They're making allegations, or AI was making allegations. The names are Samuel Hurd and Jeffrey Jackson. Now, according to this AI narrative or statement that AI made, the list was published in the New York Times in 2022 and includes the names of people who attended Epstein's parties on his private island. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not going to go on the record to say that Jeffrey Jackson. It doesn't. But you know, of course, I could jump to conclusions. We all know Jeffrey Jackson. I mean, it's kind of a a rude dude. We know he lied in the Australia Royal Commission. Now, whether he actually was on the list or not, who knows? No one really knows that for sure, and I'm not going to go on the record to say it's there. But these are things that people are talking about in the ex-witness world. I mean, it gets your attention. I had 3 or 4 people, like I say, send me these articles on Epstein and the witnesses. So that's just one thing. But I'm going to have to say, I don't really think there's any hard evidence that can support it. Now, in a court of law, sometimes you don't need hard evidence. Sometimes it can be circumstantial evidence. Now, we do know that Jeffrey Jackson is not an honorable man. I believe we can say that without hesitation. And we know how he dealt in the Australian Royal Commission. And we know also of the amount of pedophiles in the organization. And we know the governing body is aware of them. So this is like circumstantial evidence, but it's not enough to really put Jeffrey Jackson and Samuel Hurd in the Epstein files, according to me. I mean, I'm just thinking aloud. Maybe you want to put them there, but it does seem a little strange. So the next question, according to the information coming into the 6 screens, that was asked to AI 4 years ago before they, when they were commenting about Epstein. Does any name of a Jehovah's Witness appear in Jeffrey Epstein's activities? So that's the question. Does any name of a Jehovah's Witness appear in Jeffrey Epstein's activities? In 2023, the lawyer for Jehovah's Witnesses, Mark Rowley, submitted an affidavit to a court stating there is no evidence that any Jehovah's Witnesses was involved in any crime relating to Jeffrey Jackson. Well, again, Mark Rowley, if indeed he's even a Watchtower lawyer. But let's just go with circumstantial evidence again. These are not hardcore facts. But what did we just witness with the but the Norwegian, what did we just witness with that? All right, how a lawyer got up there and lied through his teeth that Jehovah's Witnesses don't use the word shunning. So, circumstantial evidence from 2023 with a lawyer of the Watchtower, I've lost all credibility in lawyers for the Watchtower, I'll tell you that. So, I don't know that one. So he's claiming that there was no evidence. But of course, they would lie anyway. So where would you take it from there? Okay, so then here's another. What connection does Jeffrey Epstein have with Jehovah's Witnesses? Now, like I say, this is stuff that was sent to me. I am not totally in the same camp with everybody here. I've even I'm cutting the witnesses even a little slack here on this. Now, the link between Jeffrey Jackson and Jehovah's Witnesses is complex and it's still not entirely clear. This is what AI evidently said back in 2022 about Watchtower and Epstein. It's saying here that Jeffrey Epstein donated $10 million to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania. That is the legal entity that runs Jehovah's Witnesses internationally. This donation was intended for the construction of the new training center. Okay, so take it from there. I mean, you whatever you want to call it. This seems a little odd to me, because but he donated it evidently to the training center for missionaries in Patterson. So whether that's true or not, it's anybody's guess. But
he was involved. We will see that he was involved in much more than just the island.
yeah, he evidently was involved. I mean, he was even some people wonder where he got all his money, Pixie. And
I don't even want to think about it. I personally want to move on
Can I make a comment?
yeah, Susan wants to make a comment. Go ahead, Susan.
I read a pretty credible article from a credible newspaper that said that Jeffrey Epstein got his money from two wealthy billionaire Jewish bankers and the Rothschilds. One of the Rothschilds.
Yeah, that
Got his money from. And he was known as Mr. Fix-It. He did more than the sex stuff. He fixed their problems. They called him Mr. Fix-It.
Well, he had a lot of money. In fact, I've even on the business news I watch in the morning, and talked about it one day where we got all this money. And if you say you got it from these bankers, maybe it was like bribe money, blackmail money. I'm gonna, if you don't,
Well,
if you don't give us the money, I'm gonna spill the beans on you guys and tell the world you were here. And I'll tell you what, since those files came out just in the last few weeks, a number of corporate people have stepped down. Big time bankers, big time lawyers have stepped down. So who knows, Mike? Is that you? You want to chime in?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
He might be big about the sex, but if he's Mr. Fix-It, he can fix a lot of problems. He can fix money problems.
Oh yeah.
He can do whatever he would do whatever they asked him to do.
Well, I mean, to have an island, I mean, it's not cheap, So, what do you think, Mike?
Well, Trump has one too.
well,
Yeah.
I was just going to say, Rick, that if you read some of what you hear about the Epstein thing, I guess maybe the idea that Jews run the world turns out not to be so crazy after all.
Well, I wish I had more Jewish blood in me, to be honest with you. They're very good business people. My goodness. Oh, thank you, Mike. All right. So we'll look at friends. What I'm doing here tonight, don't say Rick Ferrin says that Epstein was connected to the Watchtower. I'm just telling, this is stuff that was sent to me this week. It caught my attention. It kind of tickled my ears a little bit. So let's go on. So we're asking AI the information that was sent to me. Someone asked AI 4 years ago when AI would comment on this. It evidently is not commenting now. But okay, so now let's ask the next question. Here's another question. Some of Epstein, well, maybe more of an answer than the question. According to AI, some of Epstein's accomplices were associated with Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, someone's got this mixed up. I don't go along with this. In 2019, Florida police arrested Chrisleen Maxwell. We know who she was. That was Epstein's girlfriend, right? So Florida police arrested Chrisleen Maxwell, a friend and associate of Epstein. And then it says that Maxwell was involved with Jehovah's Witnesses for 20 years. I'm not buying this one. So someone's got this mixed up. I'm telling you, this is not correct. And then it says Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was a significant donor to the Watchtower organization. I don't believe this. I really don't. I can't be. First of all, somebody is getting this mixed up. There's no evidence.
do not believe it.
I don't believe that at all, because they're getting it mixed up. There's a woman, and I can tell you the connection that is real here. A woman by the name of Sarah Kellen. And I think someone's getting her mixed up, maybe AI mixed up with Maxwell. Sarah Kellen, there's no confusion about it, was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. She was just fellowshipped. And she actually became a longtime assistant for scheduling young girls to go to that island. So that's a known fact. That I do know is a fact. That's true. So I think they're getting her mixed up with Maxwell here. So Keller is someone altogether different. So I'm gonna have to say that's not true. Maxwell was never one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and her father.
We don't know, though. We don't know how Miss Kellen met Miss Maxwell.
Well, they could be
And
linked there.
there's
Yeah.
an indication that they knew each other at the New York mansion. So we don't know how far back they knew each other. And we do know that Robert Maxwell was very much in the media and very, very wealthy. So he may have given money to all kinds of things.
Well, there you go. Now, so what you're doing there, Pixie, is using circumstantial evidence. That's in other words. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's a good question. So let's go.
But Kellen shows up initially not on the island with the 364 trips that she has actually noted for, but she first shows up in the New York mansion.
Well, there's a lot of things there that are coincidental, right? And who knows? But I mean, I can't say for sure one way or the other, but it does seem a little extreme. I mean, her father donated money to the Watchtower. It's possible. I'm just relating the information that came to me. I'm trying to remain neutral.
I just know that the ranch is horrific things. They're saying horrific things there, and he had so many interests in so many things. It wasn't just a brothel on an island. It was a lot more.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I've heard this too. But here's one here, Pixie, that was asked to AI when they were willing to comment about it. What is what official? I'm sorry, one second. Oh, okay. Is it official? Let me read this right. Is it official that Jeffrey Epstein was interested in buying the Watchtower buildings in 2017? Well, is it official? Well, I mean, it could be. I mean, he had the.
That's a prime spot.
Yeah. Also, it's saying also his relationship with Donald Trump and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, who in the end were the ones who bought the Watchtower properties in Brooklyn. Well, there is some truth to that. Okay, I mean, we do know that. I'm not sure about Epstein wanting to buy it, but I do know that Donald Trump and kind of in that circle of friends with Epstein. So who knows what they had up their sleeve? I don't know. So
I believe Kushner either bought it or was the real estate broker. I'm not sure which.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it seems. And also another thing here. Let's see here. I found it's another thing I wanted to bring up. As concerning Alan Dershowitz and how he actually. Let's see.
My heart, because I like the Dersh.
Well,
It did not break mine.
it didn't break yours, no. Well, Alan
It
did.
did not break mine. I did not like him.
No. Well, he's not a very likable guy. I mean, I don't really know what his position is. He's actually a Democrat, but at times he acts like a Republican. I'm not really sure what his position is.
Well, he was one of the defense attorneys in the first or second impeachment trial before the Senate.
Yeah, he's a pretty well known. Yeah.
He's Republican, whatever his name is, his actions are that he would be a Republican.
Yeah, no, they're mentioning here in AI the connection with Alan Dershowitz. And of course, his connection even with Epstein, he knew him. And Dershowitz actually represented Epstein in 2008 and has written positively about religious liberty cases involving Jehovah's Witnesses. So Epstein kind of likes the Jehovah's Witnesses. I guess he was probably hired by them to write positive things, or at least he's not. Well, first of all, Dershowitz is, you can go where you want with that. He's a Harvard professor, but that doesn't mean too much. But he's all over the news, not as much lately. But there's a mix there there's definitely a mix with Dershowitz, Epstein, and the Watchtower. There's a little triangle going on there. So anyway, that's our thoughts on it. There's more there, but I don't want anyone to get the thought that I'm saying all this is true. I don't want. I have my reservations on some of this stuff, but some of it you can put pieces of the puzzle together, and it seems like it. It seems like it just some of it could be true, but some of it's just too far out there for me to accept. I don't know about you people. What do you think? Who'd like to speak up? You run with us. All right. Well,
If it's more out there, it's probably true. That's just my 2 cents.
all right. Go ahead, Matthew. What do you think, Matthew?
Rick, it's it's very easy to get caught up in sensationalism. But what we do know about Epstein is he owned or evaluated multiple New York City properties And so, look, Watchtower sold very large, high-profile Brooklyn properties during the same time period. And if we look at the available files, we see, oh, look, Watchtower does this, and should come up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there's any particular wrongdoing. It just comes up in the disclosure files because, these are unsealed exhibits. It's not necessarily a guilt list. It's just got financial institutions, property transactions, and charities and things like that. But when we look through those files, the alarm bell goes off, ding, 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 and we go, what is the connection here? But at this particular stage, there's no criminal connection that appears alongside the Watchtower properties or the Watchtower connection. So we've got to be very, very careful. It is interesting, but we've got to be careful not to over-sensationalize, especially if we're trying to get to the truth of matter.
Right. Well,
There's no harm.
Well, thank you, Matthew, for saying that, and that's sensible. But I just got overwhelmed this week with people sending me this, and then I'm reading all over forums all about this. So I wanted to bring it up, but I'm not really totally, in agreement with all of this, like I say. But
Let me say this too, Rick, about this. You do have to be careful about the stuff you talk about, no matter how much is thrown to you, because somebody will be entering some question in artificial intelligence about you, and your name will come up with this stuff. And you're just sitting there innocently raising questions. So today you have to be real careful about what you say and what you do, because it's just being collected by artificial intelligence, which is not true intelligence. And so you come out looking like anything, and you've done nothing. You know what I mean? So you have to be careful about the things you mention.
oh yeah, no, but here's the way I can get away with it, and it still is not good if it comes back and haunts me. But see, I'm not a journalist. I am not a journalist. I consider myself a radio talk host or moderator. So conversation comes up. Conversation comes up. Now, if I was a journalist, I would not even mention this. I would not even touch that with a 10-foot pole. So, because you don't, as a journalist, you would look at them as, they got to be way more critical than a talk show host, right? So,
artificial intelligence doesn't necessarily differentiate between a talk show host and a journalist. It just puts your name there, and some uninformed person does a question to artificial intelligence, and your name comes up in a way that makes you look like somebody who you're not. You do have to be careful.
Oh,
even if you're not a journalist.
I got you, and thank you. I do understand. That's why I made it very, very clear that this is not me saying this, but I just wanted to satisfy the minds of our listening audience because they've been asking. All right, let's go. Let's go to. Is that Dick? You want to come in, Dick? A Constance?
Yeah, thank you, Rick. It's easy to get really caught up in all this. There's a lot of dots you can connect. Trump's son-in-law, Jared, bought a lot of JW property in Brooklyn. We know that. And Trump once had a relationship with Epstein. We know that. But I'd like to think positive things on Donald Trump. I think he's a great president. What I think is happening is I think the governing body is shaking in their boots. I think they know the writing's on the wall. They're being destroyed by different countries and all the hypocrisy and all the changing doctrines and dates. That I think the writing's on the wall, and I think every one of the has an escape. Just think one day all of a sudden there's not any JW governing board, and fill a void. I do think days are very, very numbered, and we do have on what we say, because we could be hit with defamation things. It seems evident, and he's saying it. The Watchtowers, and it's the false prophet. It's thank you.
Well, thank you, Dick. Thank you very much for calling in. All right, Donald, do you want to say something? Go ahead, Donald.
Yeah, I was going to say too that with the reason why they're making so much money, the Watchtower that is because I think they're putting money. I think they're squirreling money away for them when the right time comes for them to sort of hightail it out of there when the time is right. Because they, like he said, like the guy said earlier, they're shaking in their boots right now. Their time is practically up, and I guess they figure if this, I guess everybody's thinking, well, if this is gonna, at least we got all this money we have, we can go get our own island somewhere or go somewhere and hide, So I don't know. That's what I think. I think that's why they got all that money. I think that's why they want more money from the government, because they want to put it back for themselves so that they can escape somehow.
Well, very good, Donald. But one thing I can tell you with full certainty, full confidence, the Watchtower is a fraud. The Watchtower is scandalous. They will.
What I always think, Rick, is Satan's excrement.
Yeah, well, so when you think of, when I think of crime, I mean, lately I don't know if I'm going overboard with this, but when I think of crime, I always tie the Watchtower into this stuff. I mean, maybe sometimes I'm going to the outer limits with it, but the Watchtower is a very scandalous, corrupt organization. And geez, when I see some of the high-profile corruption taking place, I say, geez, it's probably not too far behind, and you'll see the Watchtower on that same trail. Well, only time will tell. We'll see what happens. Well, you're on 6 screens, JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about. We do have the phone lines locked right now. We have the, I call them the drunken Bethelites. They tried to make their appearance again tonight. Maybe they didn't want us talking about the stuff we're talking about. They don't want anybody connecting any dots. I don't know. So, anyways, what do you have to say, Zach?
No, no, I was just listening. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, in fact, it's funny. I'll tell you what, though. I'm looking at the views here. My goodness, I can't believe it. We got well over 200 people listening in right now. 200 people listening in. That it gets people's attention. It's crazy.
Did you say there was financing for a center in Panama?
In Patterson, New York.
In Patterson.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But don't.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
I was going to say, if it's okay, may I mention how people can get my files I call the Tower Finally Falls?
Of course. Of course.
How they, okay. For anybody that's listening or watching on YouTube or whatever, my name is Donald Brown, and I've written some files about the witnesses, and I call them the Tower Finally Falls. And if you want them, they're free of charge. You can email me at D as in dog, B as in boy, R as in Romeo, WN at AOL.com, and just say I want the Tower Finally Falls in the subject line, and I will send them to you.
Oh, that's awful nice of you, Donald. Thank you for doing that and offering it to the people listening in. Thank you, Donald. You're a good guy, Donald. Don't you ever change, buddy. We love you.
Yeah, love y'all too.
All right. Thank you. All right. Can you believe? Yeah, go ahead.
I heard you talking earlier about the witnessing activity, the door to door and all that. And I agree, I haven't seen witnesses going door to door. This deep freeze that we were in must have kept them out of the way too. But I have to say, this week, I saw 3 different groups of witnesses. All of them were at witnessing carts. So I still haven't seen the door-to-door, from house to house, from door to door, Jehovah's Word Be Spread witnesses. I still haven't seen them. I just see the ones at the carts, and I've seen them at 3 different carts, and I think it was the same day.
Well, no, well, I haven't seen them at all in the door to door. I have seen them in the cart work, not in my town where I live, but in the city where my business is. I've seen the cart work there. But the thing is, Zach, and really when we stop and think about it, that the heyday's over. When you were a witness, and even when I was, it was something to be proud of. It really was. I was proud to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And even walking down the street, I didn't walk around my nose in the air, but boy, I felt like a hot shot. I'm walking down the street with my suit, my hair slicked back, my polished shoes, and I'm saying I know more than anybody knows about God. Yeah, I mean, really, they.
You had something special.
Yeah, but it's not that way anymore. I mean, they're in fact, I'll tell you, the people writing me and giving me information about the cart work in their area, the witnesses are deliberately putting the cart in an area where there's not much foot traffic or any traffic. They're kind of like hiding. They don't even want to talk to people,
The ones I've seen, they're where there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of, they don't have to do you don't have to do anything. You just need to smile and nod your head politely at people as they come up. And if they show some interest, apparently you give them something to read. And make sure you say jw.org.
Yeah, no, I know when you were witnessing, and I know you were very astute. I know you were very good at it. I know you were very good. I can just tell. You went to the door and you had a message, and you could defend yourself. You could defend the witness belief system. The witnesses today cannot do that, Zach. They can't at all. No.
Right.
Well, always good to hear from you, Zach. I'll tell you, you got a fan group out there. They all love you. They all love you, Zach. You're a good guy. You're a good guy. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear that.
Well,
That's very encouraging.
well, it's true. It's true. And that after hours show, that's taken off like a rocket. In fact, I'm going to give a plug for it right now. If you're listening in, if you guys online or on YouTube or wherever you happen to be listening, Facebook or wherever, radio network, if you really want to join, we leave the phone lines open. You see that telephone number right there on YouTube and Facebook? Jot that number down. And if you want to meet some really good friends, what I do is I leave the conference line open after the show. Now, it's not being recorded. No one even knows who you are. So don't worry about it. It's not on YouTube. It's not live. It's just people talking to one another. So sometimes we have upwards of 30 people in there talking. So if you want to join the crowd, join tonight after JW World News. I'll leave the call open and you guys can talk up a storm. But just remember now, so it's not chaotic and so you can hear each other, you hit *6. That will unmute you. That'll enable you to speak. But when you're done speaking, either hold your hand over the telephone receiver or mute yourself by hitting *6 again. So go ahead and work with that. All right. So anyway, yes, who's this?
Hey, this is Nicole.
Oh, hi.
Yeah, so the after party crowd, if any of those drunken idiots come in, we know how to deal with them. We know how to deal with them. Ain't that right, Zach? We know how to deal with them.
Yeah. Well, have you had them come in? Have you?
No, we've never had them come in, but who's to say that they're not listening now?
Yeah, well, that's
So
yeah. What to do if
just
they?
so you guys know, what to do, Greg? What do you think we should do?
Well, if they come in, the best thing, and I think to some people out there, just text me, or
Okay.
just text me if you could, and just say, Rick, that they're in here. But I'm telling you, they use some pretty nasty. If you guys are really prudish, it's going to turn your ears pink. Some of the stuff these people say, it's terrible. It's terrible stuff.
My ear's not going to turn pink. I know that.
All right, but
We got a New Yorker, we got an Island Girl, and we got me, and I'm all street, no sesame.
all right. But
You know what, with this after show, this after party, I was thinking about it this week, and I realized that Six Screens has gone full circle. Because in the olden days, that's the way the late hours were anyway.
well, that's interesting, Zach. Right? That's how it was. It was just all yeah. Before YouTube and Facebook was just a telephone. That was it.
Yeah. And especially the late hours. Remember, it turned into the Sheila Diane show.
Oh.
They weren't scheduled. It's just that they would keep talking, and they got into conversations with each other, and they could go for hours.
Yeah, well, that's good. Now the phone doesn't go off. I know my phone does, but it still stays on, so you guys can still talk, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I just thought of a problem we had. There was somebody snoring.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Was that you, Rick?
No, because I listen in, but I'm not an avid listener. I'll probably be out shoveling snow tonight up here in Alaska, Massachusetts.
It's not true.
Yeah, they've always accused me.
If it happens again, I won't blame him.
No, they always have blamed me for snoring. I might have done it once. But most of the time it's someone else.
We snored
Someone else. Rick,
several times.
once it used to be a regular thing.
Oh yeah, it was.
We all knew it when you had the video suite. We talked back and forth about it.
Yeah, well, they used to accuse me all the time. But what I used to do, because I tell you, we used to go all night long with this. But I had my bed in the other room where the studio was. So sometimes you might have caught me snoring, but other times I could get in and block them. Yeah. But hey, we have fun, don't we? We have fun. We had a lot of fun here. All right, good man. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, we don't have too much more to talk about. Maybe we'll cut it loose.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, I don't want to scare you, Rick, but I believe everything that Jehovah's Witnesses said is true. This is Gilbert.
Yes, Gilbert.
Remember when Satan told Adam and Eve, "You will not die"?
Yeah.
Well, he did the smart thing. He pleaded the fifth afterwards. He didn't talk. Only Adam and Eve spoke, and they got in trouble. But notice how Satan kept quiet in that, and he pleaded the fifth. But here's the thing. Adam and Eve wasn't that clear yet. But Adam and Eve could have said, "You lied to us." But technically, this is how Satan works with the lie and the truth. He stretches the truth, and he says, "Well, you didn't die," but eventually they did, and they were meant to live, and they were meant not to die. But this is how the evil people see, Rick. Every day you go through life, and you think beautiful thoughts. You think about bunnies. You think about dogs and work. Everything that's wholesome and pure. You don't think like a demon, and the Jehovah's Witnesses do.
The conference has been unlocked.
But with a twist, like it's a deceitful way. And I'm telling you, Rick, that when they wrote the only Bible that has the phrase, the conclusion of the system of things, and everything that, call me crazy, because you have that tinfoil hat too. Everything points that we are in the middle, and some people call it a fourth turning or whatever. But all throughout history, you have governments who destroy the history that came before them. So in our country, it's no different. And I'll give you a perfect example. Go to Wikipedia and just type in all of these state capitals all east of the Mississippi, and even the Texas state capital, and they'll all tell you that they were built by convicts, prisoners that didn't have power tools, and that for some reason they have all of these different architects that won the bid, but yet everybody built the same building, and they all built perfectly cut stone without mortar that fit into place, that will still be around for another 1,000 years. So if there's a lot of people that believe that no, all of these buildings existed, they were
So when the Mormons left Missouri, they didn't build Salt Lake City. They didn't establish the city Salt Lake. They founded it. That's why when you drive down the freeway, you'll see a city name and it'll say whatever, and it's established in such and such time. But another city will say founded, because those cities existed way before modern man, like today's man. They were around for millennia, and all of the evidence points that history is always being destroyed. And Watchtower is doing the exact same thing with their organization. They're eliminating 1914. They literally are burning their books, literally burning their books. And what are they doing? They're getting rid of the history. And the average Jehovah's Witness does not even know that they used to go door to door, maybe. They have no idea who Charles Taze Russell is. The only people that know are the outsiders. But the point I'm trying to say is that I think they do. I think they are right, and it's not like from a biblical perspective, but they belong to a certain club that knows that we are in a great reset. And see, all of these terminologies, these words mean things, and the question today is not whether the button's going to be pushed, and humanity will have to go through a reset, whether we will or not. Whether we will fight back and say, no, we don't want to be part of that world, that's yet to be determined. But there will be an Armageddon. It won't be the Armageddon. See, and it's not like that's where they lie. They're telling you it's Armageddon from like Jesus. But no, it is Armageddon, but it's just a different type of Armageddon. It's like Satan lying. It's a new system. And so what I'm trying to say is that all of these words mean things. The great Rush Limbaugh would always say words mean things. God. No, but see, and Rush Limbaugh.
Let me ask you a question.
No, you can't ask me.
How are you defining Armageddon? What is your Armageddon?
I'm going to tell you why. Rush Limbaugh had the receipts.
No, what is your Armageddon?
The numbers that he had.
What is Armageddon according to you? Said there's going to be an Armageddon.
Well, hold on, Zach. Let Gilbert finish. Let Gilbert finish, Zach. Then
what I'm trying to say is that you have to listen to, without jumping to conclusions. When you hear all of these people, like Donald Trump talking about the Peace Council.
Oh, Donald Trump.
And all these other things. I'm not making conclusions. I'm not even jumping to, but I'm just saying I'm listening. Because this is what happens. The demons have to tell you what they're doing. They can't just do evil. They have to always warn the human beings of what I forget the terminology that's called. So
it's a double jewel from imperialism.
Yeah, all I'm saying is that we're living in a moment in time, and what the Watchtower didn't know, but a select group of people did know, and a lot of religious people, like that comedian would always say, "It's one big club and you're not in it." They are part of the club, and they know that the Great Reset is going to come. And it's no different from what happened in the mid 1800s during the Industrial Revolution.
When you say Armageddon, I'm still on that. When you say Armageddon, do you mean just a major change? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we don't know. And I'm not going to tie it to Jesus Christ, but I'm just saying that the Armageddon terminology that could be part of the Great Reset, but it's all interconnected. All I'm saying is that everything is interconnected. And we're living in a moment. And Watchtower right now is doing what all of the nations have done that have participated in this. They destroy their culture. They destroy their history. And Watchtower is destroying their history. But
I have a point when you're done.
And one last point that history has always been destroyed. If you get your Bible and you look at the Bible, the Apostle Paul has the majority of letters in the New Testament. But when I went to grade school, they taught me a thing called reading comprehension. And Jesus had 11 faithful apostles. One of them was Simon, one of them was Bartholomew. How come we don't have a book of Bartholomew, the book of Simon? How come we have all of these other books, but not them? And the reason is real simple. Because they destroy the power structure always has a habit of destroying history. because
Some
they
of
don't
those
want you
exist.
to know history.
Some of those books do exist, but they were not included in the Bible canon. in
That's
the
right.
14th.
Gilbert, I want to ask you this question. So
Yeah.
what's the reference that you have for what you're saying?
It's
What's
called,
the reference work?
well, I'll tell you, Jesus Christ said, pay attention how you listen. If you just get rid of the noise and you just listen, why is it? And just ask questions. I'll give you an example. When I go to the grocery store and I look at all of the fruits and vegetables, I think, surely God created more vegetables and fruits than what we have here. But why is it that we only have these? You see, because it's part of a system of things. It's part of, it's part of we are in a system of things. Just go to your grocery store. The amount of fruits and vegetables and meats, we only have 3 types of meats. We have chicken, pork, and beef. But if you go to another one, you might have goat. No, what I'm trying to tell you is we do live in a system of things.
Years.
I know, but we live in a system of things is what I'm trying to tell you. And all of the evidence points that we do live in a system of things. And when I drive from Phoenix to Yuma to go visit my brother, I drive for 3 hours at 65 miles an hour, and there's land upon land upon land upon land. But yet they cram everybody in like Babylon the Great. They cram everybody in to small little lots. And everywhere I go, like today when I was driving all over Phoenix, I was telling God, I go, God, look at all of these trees. Not one of them give fruit. They're all sterile. Every single tree, every single bush that the government plants and the new developers plant, they're all sterile. I'm trying to tell you that we are living in a system of things. And a lot of people have a feeling that we are at the end of this system of things. Doesn't mean that the Jehovah's Witnesses are right biblically. It's just that they were right, like the devil, in telling you something, making you believe one thing, but it was really something else.
That's true. Gilbert, one thing I wanted to note to you, my dad was born in 1910, and he told me in 1820 they had a contest to build those state capitals. So I believe that they were built in 1820. I don't think that they were necessarily found here. And I have a tool that's not a power tool. You know when you have a drill and it's electric or battery powered? Well, I have an antique drill that will cut stone and drill, but it's like an egg beater. You have to turn it.
Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you is that technology has been lost, and for a reason, because it's been hidden. It's still somewhere in the Smithsonian underneath in the basement. This is like the moon landing. They want us to believe that they went to the moon with that ship, but they somehow lost the technology to go back up there.
I hear
So
you.
what I'm trying to tell you is,
You're bringing in the points that were talked about in the after show now.
This is after
what I'm trying to tell you is,
Yeah.
they brought from Italy to build the national.
Hey, we gotta move on. We got a lot more people who want to call in. Okay, go ahead, Gilbert. Go ahead, wrap it. Yeah, go ahead, Kurt.
Watchtower is destroying its history. Watchtower
Yeah.
is burning its books. Watchtower.
Hello, Rick.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. Yeah, we understand it. That's good. Thank you, Gilbert. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kurt. Go ahead.
Hey, hi, Rick, Kurt, and hello to everybody. Hello. I heard.
Long time no see. We were putting an APB out on you.
Hey, Zach. Hi, Zach. I love hearing you talk. And hi, Pixie. I know we can't preach. I'm fully aware of that, so I'll try to be very quick and not get too preachy. I don't think I can tell anybody something they know, but I think it's worth mentioning. When the sixth seal is opened in Revelation, it appears to be Armageddon. The word is not used there. When the seventh seal is opened, the kingdoms of the world have become the kingdoms of our God and Christ. So I could say a lot more about Armageddon, but it's up to us as ex-witnesses to decide what Armageddon is and if we're close to the end of this age or not. And that's a very, very big subject. Now, one last thing, I don't want to make anybody mad at me,
But something irritates me here. I heard it tonight from Donald, and I don't want Donald mad at me. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. I've got two sisters. My mother was very dedicated. We all saw this in our families. I had a lot of bad things said to me outside the Watchtower, people that hated the Watchtower. It still sticks with me today. But when you call the Watchtower the excrement of Satan, I think that is a real mouthful there. I think it's going a bridge too far. It still is offensive to me, even though I have my problems with the Watchtower as well. And it's not very Christian. It's not very Christian, in my opinion, to say that about any other organization. Now, one last thing about the falling away of the Watchtower membership. It certainly is happening. It's happening pretty much across the board in Christendom. I watch a lot of this on YouTube. The Churches of Christ, for example, have lost a lot of memberships lately. I think one last statement, I'm done. I think, in my opinion, just my 2 cents, that sometime between now and the end of the age, we will be seeing a one world religion, and Protestant groups that can be dissolved now and gotten out of the way is a step toward a one world religion. And that one world religion, I believe, is the form that Babylon the Great will be in the final hours, and it will be destroyed. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Anyway, thank you for taking my call.
Kurt, do you remember, because you made that point, do you remember a light blue book that was called Our Incoming World Government Under the Prince of Peace?
Oh, yeah, it's a little small book like the Truth book, yeah.
And the witnesses have taught that or said that there will be a world, what's necessary is a world government. Now, of course, they were trying to go higher source world government, but I do find that interesting that they did say that.
Yeah. That's great that you remembered that. Your mind is really good. And they believe, if you remember, one last thing, I know other people's got to talk here. It's the end of the show. They believe that the UN will be the 8th king. If you guys probably remember that, it will destroy Babylon. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Of course, I don't know if I'll be around, but somebody will see what happens. But I hope it didn't make anybody mad. I love listening to the program. Rick, I thank you for taking my call. And everybody, hello, Zachary. And I'll go back to YouTube now. I'm going to turn the phone off and go back to YouTube. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that's Kurt Hatfield. And in fact, I'll tell you about Kurt. Did you ever hear the Hatfield and the McCoys down there in West Virginia and how they had a feud, a family feud? Well, he's one of the Hatfields. He's one of the Hatfields, and he's still cranking away at it. We always love to hear from Kurt. Thank you, Kurt, for checking in. Well, that just about wraps it up here for the Six Screens JW World News tonight. Friends, I want to tell you, we do have a Six Screen Sunday program tomorrow. Now, we turn to theology. We don't preach on Saturday night, but on Sunday, we get into Scripture. We'd love to have you join us. If you can come in tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock, we have a program called Knowing God After Leaving the Watchtower. At 2 o'clock, we have Anne Marie back with us. Anne Marie it talks about, your trek in the Watchtower. You can share your story. Call up Anne Marie tomorrow, same telephone number you see on the screen right now. And then we also have JW World News Sunday edition at 3 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, we do the Christian Court. Oh, my goodness. It's the only program we have that's crossing over. It's going into the Christian world as well. And what it is peculiar Christian questions that are answered. And we know in the Watchtower, you can ask questions, but you can't question their answers. But you'll hear it tomorrow right here. And then if you have Bible questions for Jay Hess, he's our resident scholar, and he'll be on tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time answering your Bible questions. Friends, I want to thank you all for coming in. And just as a reminder, now we'll leave the telephone lines open. You see the telephone number on YouTube and Facebook. If you want to have a private conversation, it's not being recorded. It's not live. It's just people talking to one another after hours. So if you want to join them, there'll be a number of people in there after hours tonight. So friends, I want to tell you this. I want you to keep standing tall. I don't want you to ever give in, up, or out. Don't ever let your visions die. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We'll see you tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock right here on the 6 Screens Telenetwork. Thank you.